So great news for all these Delicious in Dungeon fans. Season 2 has been officially announced, meaning we will be getting that full adaptation. This is actually going to be a relatively short anime, less than 50 episodes. And I'm so excited to see the conclusion because all I've heard is that the second half of this manga is even crazier and better. But you have to admit, they did kind of casually just end this season with confirming, like, the darkest ending. Now, not necessarily darkest in the way that, like, oh my god, brutality and guts and all that, but you have to honestly look at it objectively. Their show started off with, hey, I'm gonna go save my sister from being ate by a dragon, to the ending now is, we're gonna go eat my sister to save her. And while I definitely think you can maybe make the argument if your sister's merged with a dragon and then you eat her, but she's half human, half dragon, does it count as cannibalism? Probably doesn't matter because you're still technically eating your sister. But in a very typical Delicious in Dungeon fashion, this might be the only ending that would make sense for a show like this. By removing all the dragon parts and eating it, you eliminate the dragon's soul and all that's left is dear old Fallon, and hopefully you can save her. It's just so crazy it might work, but you can't with a straight face tell me that most shows would go the route of going from, hey, my sister was ate by a dragon to, I'ma eat my sister to save her. It's just so dark, it's kind of hilarious. But I have full live reactions over on Patreon. If you want to see my full and good thought to any of these Delicious in Dungeon episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. I am very sad. I am very heartbroken that this show has now come to an end, but I am jumping for joy and so giddy that we're getting Season 2. I knew we would. The only thing for me was I wasn't 100% we were going to get an immediate confirmation. I thought we were going to have to wait a few months. Sometimes with shows like these, you have to wait for like an anime expo or something like that. Some sort of like convention where like different shows get announced. I had a feeling we are going to have something like that happen. So I was happy to be proven wrong and waking up as I'm making my coffee for the day, getting situated. I check the old social medias and I see that Season 2 announcement and I'm like, oh, thank God, yes. Because this is legitimately my favorite Studio Trigger production without a single doubt in my mind. And I honestly think if I'm hearing about where Seasons 2 content will go over the next 2 cores, granted, we don't know if it will be a 2 core. If they do a single core, it means we'll have 2 more seasons because there is 2 more cores worth of content. But either way, apparently everything before this is, while amazing and good, everything after it is so much better. And if that's the case, if what I'm hearing is true, I have no problems making this prediction that this will be one of the greatest fantasy anime to ever have been released. Period. Because at the end of the day, think about it. How many authors with a straight face and can do so well that they have the readers, or now in this case anime watchers, go, that's actually brilliant. And what I'm talking about is making everything related to the consumption of food. This show started with a gimmick of, hey, dungeon food, killing monsters, eating them, look at this crazy shit, let's go save a sister. Started off relatively safe and funny, but, you know, it's not anything to write home about initially, but the potential was always there, which is what I gave it. It was just such a level of entertainment, I loved it, and I was like, hey, a lot of times with Studio Trigger, I'm not even like really raving about characters or like story, it's just I love the fun factor of their show. And to me, this just had a fun factor. But this show has quickly elevated into a way of, just look at the ending conversation about how they have a dead-ass conversation about needing to find all these different mouths so they can have them help with consuming the sister. Take that how you will, I don't care. But the idea that, unironically, how are they going to eat that much dragon meat? And it's just like the fact that this author can somehow with a straight face have me not only look at said straight face and believe it, but say that makes sense. The consumption of food and the manipulation of food is such an integral part of this story, and it's done so seamlessly. And just like the fact that you continuously have just fun little twists on gimmicks, the idea of them all changing into different races, the fear of like most halflings don't live past 50, so the fact that, goddamn bro, you might die in 4 years, that's like that's a casual thing. The idea of the makeshift circles and how, you know, the one gargoyle just turns into like a stone plaque. I don't even know what to call that. The other into the water fountain that starts pissing on our boy, and I guess our boy's into golden showers, which makes sense given some of his other interests. But like, it's just the fact that you can just have characters unironically go, listen, this brat doesn't like my food, so I'm gonna shove a dumpling in a gargoyle's mouth, and now I just change his entire texture. brilliant. There is something so special about this, that it's a level of fun, it's a level of creativity, but it's a level of, oh my god, this is actually going to be a short, sweet, to the point story that doesn't overstay its welcome, because the show started with the objective of find Fallon, and I think for most of us, they're like, okay, if we're going to find her, you know, at that point, maybe the show shifts into a crazier story narrative, but a lot of people probably didn't expect that the core theme would be related to saving the sister from the beginning to the end. It's just along that journey, a lot of things with the dungeon would change and shift, and they've done so beautifully. But I do mean it, no one with a straight face can convince me that's not the darkest ending. While yes, it's very cheerful with how they're presenting it, but the idea of going from, we need to save my sister, she was ate by a dragon, to we need to save my sister by eating her. Yes, eating the parts of her that are dragon, but still, family reunions would be a little interesting if you had to tell that story. Let's just put it like that. But, 10 out of 10 season. There wasn't a single episode of this season out of 24 episodes that made me say, damn, that was a weak episode. It was consistent. The consistency of this show was next level. There's still spins and kicks and drops that you'll see even in this episode that I'm like, they didn't need to animate it that hard. You can definitely tell, though, that this was something that was planned to have a Season 2 announcement well before we got to this point. The fact that this is a relatively short manga that could be done in about 50 or 48 episodes says to me that the production committee that is behind this and Studio Trigger knew they were doing more. But it's so good to see how much buzz it has gotten over the weeks, because it started off relatively popular, not in the way that it's like an Attack on Titan or a Demon Slayer of the season, but it started off with a very good word of mouth, and before even the first core ended, it felt like pretty much everyone was jumping aboard that delicious and dungeon train. And from what I understand, the Japanese audience have been raving about it as well, and understandably so. Unique art style, unique characters, unique everything, but it feels like the characters are actually people. Look at that story of, our boy Leo's talking about why he brought Fallon along, and then, Marcel realizing about why she was always offering her food. Every character actually feels like a person, and I'm so excited to see where the characterization will go now in a Season 2. But of course, those are my feelings. I'd love to know what everyone thought either on this final episode, what we now know of for the ending, and we hope to see in Season 2. Let me know down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell. And like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Anne, B. Monkeef, Brittany Henquitz, Blue Wizard, Annoying Waffle, Jamabu, Justin Hayes, Amy, Timbo J. Dissent, Alicium, Miranda Shaw, Coasty944, and Joseph. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and maybe reconsider feasting on your sister, but hey, what do I know? Have a good one.